Hi, everybody.
Hey, Spirit.
Welcome back to Transforming Relationships Through A Course in Miracles with the Quins.
And Spirit
In the house.
in the house.
We have Spirit here, and I'm her emotional support human.
Yes.
So
When we say don't leave home without Spirit,
that's right.
we mean it.
That's right. I can't. I'm her emotional support human. She needs me.
But she knows we're
I
one.
need my little
so,
vest, you know.
So she never wants to be separated.
That's right.
She just knows we're one.
That's right. Well, she's
She
learning.
knows.
I keep trying to tell her, we're one, right? And she's like, yeah, but I still need to be with you physically all the time.
And I need belly rubs. I need scratches.
And lots of treats.
And treats.
Yes. But besides that,
and long walks.
Uh-huh.
If you're reading her dating ads, love long walks in nature, lots of treats, and belly rubs.
And she is the sheriff of Squirrel Town. So if you're a squirrel, you need not apply.
Right.
So.
Yeah, don't. Yeah.
So, all right.
Or a squeaker.
That's right. Or which is a chipmunk.
Right.
Squeakers are chipmunks. Okay. All right. And today, Spirit ran a bear off that was heading right toward me. So,
an incredible story.
Doing her job.
A bear is coming toward Anna.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not, we're talking
a real bear.
A real bear in a real forest.
Yes.
And Spirit, we've always wondered what Spirit would be like around the bear.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
And
push that bear right on back. I mean, just fearlessly push that bear right on back.
In dog language, she told her to leave, I guess.
Yeah, she did.
And the bear must have understood
absolutely
the language.
Absolutely. The bear
took
off. I heard the bear give a grunt of displeasure. I did hear that when Spirit was like, pushing it back. I heard the bear go, a little gruff grunt kind of sound.
Yeah.
And at that point, I realized I didn't have any bear spray. I probably should go inside. So I did. So, all righty, little tales from Miracle Peak. And today, as always, on our Transforming Relationships to A Course in Miracles, we're going to be talking about A Course in Miracles and how to apply these principles in all of your relationships so that you can experience miracles of peace, joy, abundance, and connection in all of your relationships. Not just some of them, but all of them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're always talking about in our class. We are Course in Miracles facilitators, and we use the Course in Miracles principles to make our relationship the miracle that it is.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you who know us both, you know what a miracle our relationship is, and it truly is indeed that. It is truly a miracle, and it's a miracle. It's become this beautiful miracle because we apply these ideas in our relationships. We value the truth in our relationship more than our own individual scripts, agendas, perceptions, projections, even though we still have an ego, which has scripts and agendas and is still projecting. We, who are not our egos in our relationship, always revert back to the default setting of what does the truth say. And so that's why our relationship has become this miraculous, joyous miracle that it has become. All right.
And I like how you said you can apply it to all your relationships. Yep,
that's right.
A lot of people think, well, I'm not in a relationship, but
you are. Lots of them.
That might be the trouble right there.
Right,
you're not
exactly.
aware that you're in a relationship.
Exactly.
And once you're aware you're in a relationship, not just with the other person, but with yourself.
And with everybody that you're around.
Yeah. How are you treating yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Do you love yourself?
Yeah.
Well, that'll show in how you treat your relationship.
Exactly.
because that's going to come full circle back around, and then you got to deal with it. And we're going to hear something about how we've spent millions of years here
Mm-hmm.
trying.
Judging.
Yeah, you know why? Because God's sitting there going, you know what? This is what I got in the game. Okay, your little judging game. This is what I got in the game. I got eternity.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to play that game for billions, not just millions, billions of years,
Mm-hmm.
I got eternity on my side. So
Yeah,
you can play it as long as you want,
that's
as many
right.
lifetimes as you care to do.
And we are going to be talking about judgment today, and the the reason that our relationships are as painful and unhappy as they sometimes are, often are, is because of our judgments. You know, we act like we know enough to judge. We act like we are the author of the people we're in that are around us. We act like we know enough to judge them, and that's why we're not experiencing consistent, real happiness and love in our relationships. Is because instead of loving, we're judging. You
Mm-hmm.
know, when we can't judge, the course says it's not that you shouldn't judge; it's that you can't judge. You don't know enough about all the facts of the matter to judge accurately. And so when you're judging, then it's the opposite of loving. So you
Mm-hmm.
can either judge as if you know, as if you're the author of reality, or you can choose love.
Mm-hmm.
But it's, and so we're going to hear about, about God's judgment, love's judgment. It's like since we're addicted to judging, then judgment has been built into the overall plan for the healing of humanity, but it's now love's judgment. So now we're learning how to use love's judgment.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Before we read,
Mm-hmm.
let's just pause and think for a moment. We don't know A Course in Miracles, okay?
You mean let's assume we've never heard A Course in
Yeah,
Miracles?
we've
Okay.
never
All
heard of
right.
A Course in
Okay.
Miracles. We're just
Okay.
Anna and Greg.
Doing a little thought
Okay,
experiment
we're
here.
just those,
Ego personalities.
he and she dudes. What do you
Okay.
call it?
Egos.
Dudes and what?
Dudettes.
Duets.
Dudettes. No.
Dudettes.
Dudes and gals.
Well, dudes got a name,
Yeah.
dudes.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, we're just two regular people. I'd never heard of Course in Miracles.
All right.
But we have heard of what? The Last Judgment.
Sure have.
And so what does the world think when I know from my upbringing, that's a terrifying thought,
Mm-hmm.
the Last Judgment.
Right.
And whether it be here in the physical world,
Mm-hmm.
that's bad.
Right.
Because, there's going to be a lot of Armageddon stuff going on.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Or you die, and then there you are, and the decision of eternity, I guess, is in the Last Judgment. You're going to be judged by God.
And what we learned about the Last Judgment was it's God doing it to us.
That's what I mean.
Right. Exactly.
Either way, it's God.
And we all learned that it's something to fear.
Yeah.
We've all learned that God is judgmental in a negative way, and that you should fear God's judgment.
Right.
And so, in other words, we've all learned that God is judgmental and angry.
Why? Because we're afraid of God. We've been taught to be afraid of God.
And we have projected onto God what we do, thinking that must be the way God is. We're judgmental, so we just assume that God is judgmental in a negative way like us.
Mm-hmm.
So we have projected God in our own image. But that's not the way God really is. Thank you, God. Mm-hmm. Thank God that we have not been able to change God from what God is, which is only love, to a judgmental God, someone who is like what we are, which is judgmental.
Exactly.
So, it talks about, God made us in God's own image. Well, we made a God in our own image. And this is the God of judgment, who's angry, who's angry and believes in punishment as correction. But the God, as A Course in Miracles describes God, is the opposite of the God that we all learned about: judgmental, angry, punishing, etc. And the reason we see God that way is because it's impossible to conceive of God as unlike yourself. So if you are judgmental, if you are angry, if you are punishing instead of loving, then you can't help but imagine, and I mean imagine, God is the same. But the truth is that God is not angry. God is only love. God is love. I love it. And the workbook lesson theme is God is only love, and therefore so am I. That's it. God is only love. Okay, so, and God is only love. God made us in God's own likeness. That means we are only love. No. So it's like the theme I've been working on this week is like, okay, well then if I'm only love like God, then what would love do in this situation? What would love see in this situation? What would love do? What would love think in this situation? And do only that. So, okay, so here we go. So where we're at is, if you have the blue covered edition, which is the Foundation for Inner Peace version of A Course in Miracles, we are in chapter 2, section 8. If you have one of the original edition forms of the course, like the complete and annotated edition put together by Robert Perry, or the black cover with white pearls, or there's so many versions, then we are in chapter 2, section 13. So it's chapter 2, section 13 in the original edition, and it's chapter 2, section 8 in the blue covered edition, which is called the Foundation for Inner Peace version. Okay.
I'm glad it's in the blue book.
It took me a while to find it. I mean, in it, and where we're starting in the original edition is about 2 paragraphs in from the blue covered. So if you're using the blue covered edition, it's going to be chapter 2, section 8, and it will be like the 3rd paragraph. And the 3rd paragraph, or the paragraph that starts, we have said that whatever you make or create is real in your own eyes. So that's where we're starting. Okay. I'm going to see where that is real quick, which paragraph it actually is. Okay. Actually, it's it's chapter 2, section 8, and it's called The Meaning of the Last Judgment. And actually, it will start somewhere around the 1st paragraph. So, just catch up with us, but it will catch up within the 1st paragraph. Okay. So there you go. So now I'm going to go back to the original edition. We are teaching out of the version of the original edition that's titled the Complete and Annotated Edition of A Course in Miracles, that was put together with notations from Robert Perry and a bunch of other stuff too. So that's what we're using. Okay, that's our favorite. All right. Okay. Oh, hi, Tricia. Lovely to see you. Thank you. And hi, Bridget. Lovely to see you.
See, Tricia, when we're late and you're late, we're always both on time.
Yeah, I don't think she's saying, I think she's talking about at the beginning of the section.
Oh.
Okay. But all right. Glad you're here, Tricia.
Hi, Bridget.
And hi, Bridget. Lovely to see you guys. Okay, guys.
All right, let's do it.
We're going to talk about how to end judgment. It's like, the last judgment is not something undertaken by God. It's something we stop doing. It's like, I'm making my last judgment. I'm making my last judgment. It's not my job. It's not my role, and I'm not good at it.
Yep.
So I'm going to stop doing it. I'm going to make my last judgment.
Yep.
And it's this. Whatever God says is true, that's what's true. That's my last judgment.
Mm-hmm.
Or whatever's not love isn't true. That's my last judgment that I'm making.
That's what you remember. That's what I always, when I came to A Course in Miracles, that's what I finally translated the last days to me.
Oh, right. Yeah.
The last days were, what are the last days? Well, that's when I stopped judging.
Right.
And
that's
then,
right.
And then the last days, in the last days, well, it'll be the last days because the new days I don't judge anymore.
Right. That's right.
And
that would be a new day.
And somebody would go, "Why don't you judge anymore?" Oh, I gave that
up a long time ago.
That was the last
that
days.
stuff was poison.
Yeah, this is a new day.
Exactly.
The last days.
Yeah, I gave up judgment because I realized I couldn't.
And the last judgment, it perfectly said, is the last judgment is when the last one that I ever did, and I didn't do anymore.
That's right.
I stopped judging.
And then your world became happy right after that.
The world went, wow,
yeah.
Thank God Greg's not judging anymore.
And then you experienced the
we
real
can
world.
All come out from under our cover now.
Yes, exactly.
It's
safe to come out now.
It seems real. I mean, several people have come up and given him reason to judge, but he just stopped. I guess apparently he just gave it up.
Yeah.
And he was an addict. So
exactly.
If he can do it, boy.
Whew. I know anybody can.
And when you're in a relationship, that's where the rubber meets the road.
Oh boy. Because in your relationships, that's where you feel like I have the right to judge.
Right.
I know this person's reality.
I know
judge. Enough to judge them.
I wouldn't judge if you wouldn't give me so many reasons.
Yes, exactly.
Like that gold mine show.
That's right.
The one person says to the other, I wouldn't judge you if you didn't give me too much ammunition.
Exactly. And the Course in Miracles describes judgment, our judgments, our addiction to judging, as if we know, is a burden that we are staggering beneath and falling down beneath. And that when we give up judgment, realizing not that we shouldn't judge, but we can't judge, that now we walk on without this massive burden that we had been staggering and falling beneath. Right. So in other words, you become light and happy and without burden when you give up judgment, But then, lovingly, our higher self and God is like, okay, well, we know you're a judgment addict. That's how you've, done your world and your relationships. Well, we're going to give you another judgment to use. That's God's judgment, God's final judgment, love's final say. And so go ahead and use this one. You can use this judgment, love's judgment, God's judgment, safely because it's true.
And if we can remember the one line that we have,
that's right,
as our character here in this reality, is the child of God is innocent. That's our judgment.
That's it.
If I'm going to judge you in my relationship today, I have to judge you as the child of God is innocent.
And there is no sin.
Sin is not real.
Yeah, that's right.
And then, that's when I want to jump on the floor and kick and scream and do those little twirly circles on the floor where you shout and scream because you're not getting your way. Because it's like, well, sin's got to be real. Did you see what this person in my relationship just did?
They deserve judgment.
Yeah, at my work or at my home or in my neighborhood or wherever that relationship is. And all of a sudden we have a judgment that doesn't line up with the child of God is innocent, which is you and me all inclusive, all of us.
Yeah,
Yes, all of us.
that's right.
Even the yes buts.
You know who's.
You know whose. Well, what about, yeah, even
Mhm.
that. That's what
Even
makes
them.
the people in A Course in Miracles crazy.
Right.
Crazy, crazy.
That it's all in truth is all inclusive.
Yeah.
You know, what's true is what is the true for everyone in all space and time, no exceptions, no conditions. That's what's true.
Yeah.
And that what's true is God's word, what God says. That's what is true and all inclusive. And to make one exception to the universal truth is to not really know the truth, because the nature of the truth is that it's global. It's all inclusive. That's what makes it the truth.
And that's the meaning of God is no respecter of persons.
Yep.
Is the truth is true
For everyone in all circumstances. You know, no exception. And what is the truth that is God's final say on God's creation is that God's creations are guiltless and sin does not exist.
And
that's God's final say.
And that's not even God's final say, because that's what God's initial say was.
It's the Alpha and the Omega.
That's how
first
God,
and last.
Right, that's how God initially set it up.
Yep.
And God is changeless,
right.
Meaning what at the end of creation, when God looked at everything and said, everything is very good. After everything was created, including all of it.
Yeah. That's right.
No exceptions.
That's
God
right.
didn't go, everything is very good except that little snail walking up the side
or
of the
the
wall.
tick. That tick that that I'm trying to avoid,
Yeah.
or the bear, who's heading my way.
Yeah.
So everybody. All right. So here we go. The real meaning of the last judgment. Okay. We have said that whatever you make or create is real in your own eyes, but not necessarily in the sight of God. Just because you see something as real doesn't mean it's real in the eyes of God. And if it's not happy and loving, it definitely is not real in the sight of God. Okay. This basic distinction leads us directly into the real meaning of the last judgment. Paragraph 2. The final judgment is one of the greatest threat concepts in humanity's perception.
Yeah.
So we were just talking about that.
Yeah.
And we've all learned about, the last judgment,
it's gonna be horrible.
It's gonna be bad, man. God's gonna judge you and probably not gonna be good. Okay. God's gonna point out and look at all your flaws, and God's gonna judge whether you deserve to live or die, or whether you're good or bad.
Yeah.
Or whether you should go to heaven or to hell. And from what our religions have taught us, God is quite punishing and quite angry.
Yep.
Quite easily offended.
Yep.
According to what we learned from our religions.
Very vulnerable.
Very vulnerable.
Very vulnerable to God's own creation. God made a creation.
Yes.
And then became very vulnerable to being offended by God's own creation.
Yes.
To the point that God wants to now punish and or destroy part of that creation.
Yep.
I
mean, literally, the God we learned about in all of our religions, God is a God who is a malignant narcissist, psychopath. Truly, very sensitive, very controlling.
Did you say a cuss word?
Yes, right.
Smack.
Did you use my name in vain again?
Yes.
What did I tell you?
Cancer.
Exactly. Exactly.
Exactly. And it's like so far from
what God is. I mean, couldn't be
of God.
100%. I mean, we know, even if you're like, oh, well, I don't believe in religion, or I'm not a part of any religion, I left that behind. You still believe those concepts, those threatening concepts, because how often do you hear people say when something bad happens, they go, "Oh my God, God must hate me."
Yeah.
God must hate, God's punishing
Yeah.
me. Why do you hate me, God?
Well,
And
God,
you'll hear people say that, even people who are like, well, I left religion behind a long time ago. So that threat concept has made it into the way that we as humans think, even if we are non-religious, that, I love the final judgment is one of the greatest threat concepts in humanity's perception.
mm-hmm.
This idea that God is a judgmental God and he's
Mm-hmm.
going to judge us in the end and it ain't going to be good. Now, the reason that the final judgment is one of the greatest threat concepts in humanity's perception is only because you don't understand God's final judgment.
Mm-hmm.
You don't understand it. You think God is a judgmental, angry, punishing God when he's not. Judgment is not an essential attribute of God. Wow, the judgment didn't come from God. That's not essential attribute of God, right? That's the essential attribute of God, the God that we learned about.
Right.
That's the essential.
That's all
attribute.
God does is sit around and
Judge all day long.
When you pray, all you do,
Go, please.
You've been taught
Yes.
to do, I should say,
Yes.
is to pray.
Mm-hmm.
God, I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry,
blah,
God.
blah, blah.
Please don't judge me
Because
too harshly.
you're always thinking God's judging you.
Right.
Sorry,
Exactly.
I did that.
So sorry,
I'll
God.
try not to do that again.
Sorry, God.
I slipped up there.
Mm-hmm. And exactly, we're always apologizing to God if we even talk to God.
Yeah.
And we are always apologizing to God because we assume that God is judging us and judging us harshly. Okay. And so it says judgment is not an essential attribute of God. That idea about judgment is a man-made threat concept. Okay. We brought judgment into being only because we separated from God. So you know how when you leave somebody, you just can't but assume that they're judging you harshly. When you run away from somebody, when you abandon somebody, you just can't help but believe that they're judging you, right? So we brought the concept of God as judgmental into being when we ran away from God. We ran away from God and couldn't help but assume that God was angry, and judging us for leaving God. That's how the concept of God as judgmental came into being. We made that. We made it up. We projected that because we felt guilty for separating from God. Now God wasn't angry when we ran away from home, when we ran away from God. God wasn't like, how dare you after all I've done for you, you ungrateful little brat.
Right.
God was not angry. God's like, oh, my child thinks they can run away from me. My child needs my love. Little do they know they can't leave me, But that's where we are the ones responsible for the concept of judgment.
Right.
Okay. Because we felt guilty for running away from God, according to A Course in Miracles. But God himself is still the God of mercy. That's what God is. Yeah. I have made God in my own image, made God to be judgmental and angry and punishing. But God hasn't changed. I haven't changed God with my projection. God is still the God of mercy. Okay. I love that. So what is God? Mercy, love. That's it. God is not judgmental. God is merciful. God is loving. And I'm so grateful for A Course in Miracles to teach me the truth about God. So grateful because, God is the source, the ultimate source of our joy and our identity and our peace and our eternal life. And so when you're afraid of God, you're literally turning away from the very source of all your peace, all your joy, all your happiness. You know, so I was so grateful to the Course in Miracles for correcting my projections onto God, so that I could have this loving, brilliant, miraculous relationship with God that makes me happy. Okay. After the separation, our detour into fear when we left God, however, there was a place for justice in the plan, because now justice, fairness, was one of the many learning devices which had to be built into the overall plan. So when we left home, when we ran away from home, now the whole concept of judgment and justice had to be built into the overall plan by which we're brought back home to God, you know, our primary loving relationship. Okay. So it's like, okay, you made up judgment and you made up justice and all that. Okay, fine. We're gonna build it into the plan to bring you back home.
Imagine before the separation, what people call heaven, the Garden of Eden. I like to call it reality, where reality is.
Yeah.
Where reality is, there is no need for a device called judgment, because everything's good.
Yeah.
What would you judge it to be?
Right.
It's only good.
Right.
The judgment we've learned is it could go either way.
Oh yeah.
It could go good
From day to day.
And from what we've heard about God, that's not a good chance. Only a few get the good mark.
Exactly.
Or it could go, or the judgment could be bad.
Right. And
but
that's
in reality,
what it's going to be.
There's no need. There's no
nothing
judgment.
to judge.
God doesn't judge anything.
Yeah.
God's not sitting around judging. We came up as part of the way to separate, was we came up with all these things that aren't in reality, these bodies, not just the bodies, but we came up with this concept of we need to judge.
And we came up with the concept of sin.
Yeah, there's duality going
yes,
on.
Right.
There's good and bad. And we need to learn to judge
the
so
difference.
that we can distinguish between good and bad.
Yep.
And if that's the judgment of good based on, well, at least it ain't bad, that's not even
that's not even really good.
That's not true good.
Exactly.
It can only be good in recognition, because that's all there is.
Exactly.
Is good, not because, well, at least it's not bad.
Exactly. And if there is good and bad, love and evil, then let's say you're experiencing good or love, well, now you have to be afraid of it changing, into something evil, something bad. Right. So that's why the Course in Miracles teaches us that the only, like I was saying, the only truth is there's only good, there's only love. There isn't love and evil. There is love that doesn't know it's love and is trying to prove it's not love by doing what it thinks of as evil, but still it's only love deceiving itself. Okay? The people that we think of as evil, they are still only as God created them love. They're just asleep to the truth about themselves, and they're dreaming that that evil is real. They're dreaming that they could somehow benefit by attacking or hurting others. Okay.
And that's the only safe reality.
Right.
That's the only safe reality that a righteous, just, mighty, intelligent God would create would be a safe reality. Yes. A safe reality would only be a reality of good. There's nothing to judge. There's nothing to worry about. There's nothing to change. Or what, God created male and female in God's own image. And then the story we get is that image changed into bad. It was good well, how do you get bad out of good? You can only get good out of good. And that's what we've been taught, and that's the teachings of duality, which
Yes.
caused the separation.
That's right.
And before the separation, there was no need.
There was
for
only
judgment.
oneness, right?
That's working our way back home. Is how many more judgments do you got left in you?
That's the same as saying, how much longer do you want to suffer?
Yeah, how much longer do you want to keep recycling through time?
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Ew.
Ew.
That's just, it's like, I don't want to keep recycling through time.
I'm a recycled product.
Yes, I don't want to just keep learning
just
forever.
To learn my lesson that
exactly.
There's nothing to judge.
Exactly.
But I like where this is going. Is God is so cool. I mean, really. Whatever we made for separation, God just takes it, doesn't take it away from us.
Right. Doesn't punish us.
Just the body, and we can get into all those at another time. But today we're talking about judgment.
Yeah.
And we made judgment. There was never judgment before.
That was our
We
idea.
made it as part of the separation travel plan package that we put together. And separation was one of our seat assignments. And God didn't kick us out of our seat. He didn't go, get out of that seat of judgment.
That's stupid.
Get out of there. He goes, okay, you wanna judge? All right.
I'm gonna build in judgment into the plan
as part of the plan
for you to come back to your right mind and be happy again.
And let you judge.
Yeah.
Now here you go.
But here's a judgment that's safe.
Yeah. You want to hear it?
Yeah.
And
safe,
don't
true,
worry,
loving.
because you're going to use it on everything, every time, every
Without
day,
exception. That's right.
Until before you make a judgment, you already remember that's the judgment, and you don't make any anymore. And then we realize, oh, you made the last one back there.
Yeah, when you stop suffering.
Yeah.
It's like we're in our last class last Wednesday. It was a lot about or maybe it was actually I think it was when we were reading the teacher's manual, just you and I reading. And it was like Greg and I were coming to the conclusion that, judgment is where all of our suffering is coming from. All of our suffering comes from judging. We're judging what we are. We're judging others. We're judging, acting as if we are God, acting as if we know enough, like we're the author of reality. And when you are trying to be the author of reality by judging yourself and everybody, what you're essentially doing is denying God. You're kicking God off the throne in your mind. Now you don't have access to all the love, all the truth, all the power, all the peace that God has given you already. You can't be trying to knock God off the throne and be God and experience all that God has already given all of us. And so every time you judge, you're saying, I don't want what God's already given me. I don't want all the peace, all the love, all the joy that's God's already given us for free.
Yeah.
I want to be unhappy.
I don't want to align with everything is very good.
Exactly. And experience only good.
Yeah.
I'd rather be right than happy. That's what we're saying. Okay. Tricia says, when we awaken and stop judging about the ones that keep going, do you just give them flowers and move on, say thank you for the lessons, or do you stay in it? Well, you say, thank you for the lesson. Thank you so much. And I cannot judge you because I didn't create you. Thank you for the lesson, and give them flowers and move along. So,
Don't bite the temptation. Because that's where the real temptation comes in.
That's what temptation really is.
They're still practicing their lesson.
Exactly.
They haven't made it, obviously, to their last judgment.
That's right.
Unless the one they just judged you is the last one they ever do.
Yep.
Unlikely,
Yep.
but they're still practicing,
Exactly.
and so why practice more with them?
Exactly.
I don't want to practice more with them.
Exactly.
I
And
just want to, like Tricia said, just move on.
exactly. And you can't judge them, because that would be to judge yourself. Whatever you experienced with them in that relationship was a co-creation, 50-50. So you can't judge them and go, you made me unhappy. You messed up our relationship. You can't judge them. Well, you are a this, or you are a that, or you so this. So I would have been happy if you hadn't been so blah, blah, blah. You can't judge them like that, because whatever you experienced in that relationship was 100% a co-creation.
Mm-hmm.
And so to judge them would be to judge yourself. Whatever you're saying about them, you would have to actually equally say about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. So great. Now we're in paragraph 3 in the original edition. I'm not sure what paragraph it is in the blue covered edition, but the paragraph starts out this: just as the separation occurred over millions of years. So does anybody see what paragraph that is? Put it in the comments. Okay. Just as the separation, the detour into fear, occurred over many millions of years, the last judgment will extend over a similarly long period, and perhaps even longer. That's, and hopefully we're at the end of that. Hopefully it's been going on for many millions of years, and we're at the end of that.
Yeah, and
Hopefully.
they say, that's how the Earth is many millions of years
exactly.
old.
That's true.
And the
That's
Course
right.
is agreeing with him, going,
Yeah, that's right.
if you compare millions of years, sounds like a long time. Millions, plural,
Yes.
sound like a long time, but it's not billions. It's not trillions of years.
That's right.
And
that's encouraging.
Trillion is just a microscopic little speck of nothing compared to eternity.
Amen to that.
So God has all the what we call time, a little pun, in the world.
Yeah. God is not bound by time at all.
Yeah, God's just sitting there going, if you want to play this judgment game, little Anna and Greg, you can do that.
Exactly. And every time we judge, we are keeping time going. And like the Course in Miracles says, time is a trick. It's a sleight of hand. It's an illusion. Now when you start studying quantum physics, they're telling you the same thing. Time is an illusion. It's a sleight of hand. It's not, it's like, oh, here's the past, here's the present, here's the future. Time is an illusion. And everything that is real and true in reality is eternal. So time, the Course calls it a tiny tick that eternity hasn't even noticed in its passing. That's all it is. Like, whoop, that eternity's like, what was that? No, oh, nothing. That's what time is. It's a tiny tick that eternity hasn't even noticed. That's deep.
And we get all worked up, not only in time, but time in time.
Yes.
Like, where have you been for the last half hour?
Exactly. Exactly. And we are all caught up in time, forgetting that which is real and true, that which is really matters is eternal. But we're all like caught up with and upset about the things that don't last in time, that are temporary. But if it's temporary, it ain't real. But we're upset. And he goes, and you're upset. You only are upset by things that are temporary.
Right.
Everything we're upset about is something that's eternal. I mean, that's temporary.
Right.
Everything, and everything that's true and brings peace and joy and love that's lasting is eternal.
Yeah. And everything that we're upset about is not eternal, including judgment.
Yeah, for sure.
Because when there's a quote unquote new heaven and new earth, in other words, we return back to our natural state
of eternalness.
nobody will be judging anybody.
No.
And the way I look at us is we're all like incubator babies.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're in these little incubators because it's not that if we were taken out of the incubator baby facility that we would be in danger. We would be endangering other people if we were brought into reality, into heaven right now. And imagine nobody there judges.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Everybody's cool with everything. Everything's
Mhm.
good. Oh, really? You did that? That's wonderful.
Well, good. What'd you
Great.
learn? What'd you learn?
You
All
should do that
right.
again tomorrow.
Oh, that's funny. That
And
was a
then-
great joke.
Yeah.
It's like
Everything.
comedy.
There's nothing to judge.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, one of us escape from
Mhm.
Separationville
Yeah.
back to Realityville.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can see why that can't happen, because we would contaminate the whole place. We'd walk in and
Exactly.
go, "Why did you say it that way? What way? You know, the way you said it, like you
You know.
meant something against me,
Right.
huh?
What? Are you okay? Are you
Are
all
you all
right?
right?
Do you need some
a
help?
doctor?
Do you need a doctor? Are you okay? Are you? Oh my goodness! And that's why there's a plan
Yeah.
for the undoing of all of our judgments that takes a similarly long time, because because it, like Greg says, it would be too shocking to us. That's why the Course in Miracles says you don't have to. You're not going to be picked up and hurled into reality, right? And so God, through our higher self, has given us a plan by which we can give up our judgments in a long time, so that we're actually prepared when we enter the real world, when we wake up to the real world.
Mm-hmm.
The real world, reality in heaven, it's not somewhere that you go to if you're lucky or if you behave. It's a reality you wake up to that you had been asleep to.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like, oh, I hope I get into heaven. No, it's like the people in reality are like, let's protect her while she's sleeping, and she'll wake up soon enough, because you can't run away from God forever. Okay. So then it says, just as the separation occurred over many millions of years, the last judgment, the plan to undo our judgment, will extend over a similarly long period, and perhaps even longer. Now, the last judgment plan, its length depends, however, on the effectiveness of the present speed up. I love that. So there's a present moment speed up. The Course in Miracles calls it the celestial speed up.
Mm-hmm.
The Course also refers to it as the Great Awakening. And it says that this Great Awakening, this celestial speed up, is underway.
Mm-hmm.
And according to how effective it is, that's how that determines the length of time that this undoing healing process, or this awakening process, takes.
Imagine, I'm just sharing what's in my mind. So imagine a big fish net, got all these fish in it, and all these fish are pushing the net this way, and so it's pulling all the fish that way. And then you and I, we start pushing the net the other way. And we're still being pulled by the world into the land of judging. But then the more and more of us that strengthen the idea of joining the idea of, you know what, I'm gonna give this the best try I can. Is every time I'm in a situation where I want to judge, I'll call on Holy Spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And Holy Spirit, if we're hearing, we have ears to hear, we'll know it if there's no ill judgment. Because Holy Spirit's not going to give us a judgment and go, well, they're a crackhead. Get away from them. Holy Spirit's going to see nothing but gratitude, appreciation, thanksgiving, something of a praiseworthy report.
Yeah.
No no grumbling and moaning in the desert.
Mm-hmm.
And so the more of us that are joining together, and I see that, I see not
Mm-hmm.
just with the Course of Miracles, I've shared with Anna numerous times, this person here, they're not a Course of Miracles, but
Mm-hmm.
man,
They're speaking the truth.
everything they're saying
Mm-hmm.
is pushing that net,
Yes.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
you're innocent.
Yep.
There's no guilt.
There's no sin.
And that sounds like, again, to those that aren't familiar with its language, total
Yeah.
craziness.
It sounds
As,
dangerous.
as one of my dearest and still to this day beloved people in my life said, well, if that was true, you could do anything you wanted.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. To the concept of sinlessness and guiltlessness that is unconditional for everybody. That's the word of God. That's God's final say, and that was God's first say. God, my children are guiltless and sinless, and sin does not exist. Okay, to the ego mind, that is the most dangerous a lie or deception. That's why in the egos, in Egoville,
Unconditional love, by the way,
yeah,
is the most dangerous.
exactly. Um, the ego tells you, well, if you didn't believe in sin and guilt, then you would just go around hurting and taking
you would
from
murder
people. You would murder. But you know that whoever has that belief really hasn't looked at that, because only people who feel guilty and have been taught that they are a guilty sinner who don't deserve forgiveness, they're the ones who go out and hurt other people.
Yeah.
And steal from other people, not people who have accepted God's word for them as innocent and sinless and guiltless forever.
Yeah, if they've accepted that the child of God is innocent and sin's not real,
yeah,
they would have zero desire
to hurt anybody
in any way, shape, or
right.
form, because there'd be no reason to.
It's only people who've been taught they're bad and guilty and wrong that hurt other people.
It's one thing the police have right is, what's the motive?
Right.
And if there's zero motive, because the person believes that the child of God all inclusively is innocent, that sin is not real, then they have no motive, because you could never do anything to me to offend me, because you'd be godlike. God, that's how God is. God is not offended. God doesn't sit around going, oh, I'm offended again. Again, I'm offended. Again. Oh,
right.
again.
By little old Greg and Anna.
There's a billion people on the earth, and a billion times every minute God's being offended.
Yeah.
Think how that would be if that was true.
And that's what we're taught through all of our religions, that through our sinful bad behavior we have hurt God and maybe even killed God. I know it sounds crazy, but that is what we are taught from the time we're babies. That we have the power to hurt and offend God. To what is offensive to God? Well, whatever you do that was hurtful to God. Like, why is it offensive? Because it hurts God. And so we're taught from day one that we're so bad, so guilty, that we've hurt God. And now God is angry with us, even though we're babies, we're little children. And so, that's, it's children who grow up learning that they're bad and guilty and there's something wrong with them and they deserve punishment. Those children grow up to hurt other people. Those are the ones that grow up to be psychopaths or murderers or just people who hurt other people, And so, the concept and the fact of guiltlessness and sinlessness being God's only reality, to the ego, that is a blasphemy deserving death. That's the ultimate blasphemy. Sinlessness, guiltlessness is the ultimate blasphemy in the ego's religion. And that makes you deserve death.
And
in the ego's religion.
And I just keep hearing the term over and over and over in my mind, unconditional love.
Right.
Because that's what God is.
That's
is
it.
Unconditional
That's
love.
it.
Unconditional love doesn't have
Judge.
any conditions.
That's
why
right.
it's called unconditional.
Mm-hmm.
Any conditions in which to love you. In other words, in which to judge you
Yep.
or not judge you.
Yep.
Unconditional love loves, not on condition of, well, okay, you did that, so I don't have to judge you.
Right.
Unconditional love doesn't have any motive, doesn't have any reason, because unconditional love lives in reality.
That's right. God is only love.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And so that's all God does. God doesn't judge. God doesn't punish. And, and so that whole concept of threatening judgment is we projected onto God. That we came up with that one because we felt guilty. Of Course in Miracles says when we separated from God, we couldn't separate from God without a feeling of guilt. Now, God wasn't giving us any guilt, but when a child runs away from home, they're going to feel guilty. Even if they have good reason to do so, they're going to feel guilty. Even if the parent is not, judging that child, even if the parent is like, come back home, I love you, the child still feels guilty. And out of our feeling of guilt, we came to believe that God was angry. And the Course in Miracles says that the apostles and disciples in the Bible, the only reason that they spoke of the wrath of God is because they felt guilty, like they had somehow, abandoned Jesus or hurt him. And the Course says that their perception of guilt is what made them speak of the wrath of God. And it's true, when I feel guilty about something, I can't help, like when I feel guilty about something with us, I can't help but imagine that you're angry.
Well,
even if you haven't expressed that anger, if I feel guilty about something, I can't help but project on you that you're angry and are, wanting to hurt me or punish me, even if that's not true about you. And that's a given.
Whether it's anger or something else, the guilt produces the attraction for punishment.
Exactly.
Punishment.
That's right.
Punishment.
Guilt, the Course in Miracles says guilt is an unconscious request for punishment, because we all learned as children through our religions that the guilty deserve punishment, and once the guilty get their punishment, then they're innocent again. It's called atonement in the biblical sense that we all learned it in the Judeo-Christian theology, that when you're guilty, it means you deserve punishment, and only when you got your punishment have you atoned. And so when we feel guilty, we can't help but want to feel innocent. Everybody wants to feel innocent. Every single human being wants to feel innocent. And so when you're feeling guilty, you can't help but yearn to feel innocent again. It sucks to feel guilty. It hurts. It's terrifying. And so out of our intense desire to feel innocent again, we unconsciously are attracted to that which would hurt us, thinking unconsciously that would atone for our guilt, and then we could be innocent again and feel good again. So these are the dynamics of guilt, right? We came up with the concept of guilt. We came up with the concept of punishment, and that's what we've projected onto God and onto the people we're in a relationship with. And that's why our relationships, don't feel only loving all the time. All right. Okay, great. So now it says, we're in paragraph 3 in the original edition, and we're going to start the sentence that says, we have frequently noted that the miracle is a device for shortening, but not abolishing time. So what is a miracle? It's it's a thought that reflects the truth. God's children are guiltless and sin is not real. Okay? That's a miracle.
We say all the time that the Course in Miracles repeats itself. And as we're reading, in part because Anna and I are now going through the whole teacher's manual again, just because we love reading it. But in the teacher's manual, all these things are coming up as we read.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the teacher's manual, it says the teacher of God has learned that the teacher of God not only should not judge,
Mm-hmm.
but cannot judge.
Yeah.
That's what the teacher of God,
Mm-hmm.
the one sent by God, has learned. I can't judge. Why? Because there's nothing to judge.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do heaven on earth. I'm going to do reality on earth. I'm not going to judge.
Mm-hmm.
And then what we just read, we have frequently noted that the miracle is a device for shortening time.
Mm-hmm.
In the beginning of the teacher's manual, it talks about one of the functions that the teacher of God has is to collapse,
Mm-hmm.
shorten,
save
time.
Mm-hmm.
I love, like,
Yeah.
on my work project that I'm doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always looking at this young lad working
Mm-hmm.
with me on the site going, why is he doing it that way?
Mm-hmm.
He could save time, which is what? More productive.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot more productive to save time.
Yes, that's
to
right.
do something more efficiently,
Mm-hmm.
more quicker. And you know what's more efficient? Not to judge.
And exactly.
And that's what the teacher of God has come to demonstrate.
Yes.
And when the teacher of God demonstrates a life that reflects a life of people who don't, or I'm not going to say don't judge,
Mm-hmm.
but don't judge as much as they used to.
Have the goal of not judging.
Yeah. And then you look at a contrast of that life compared to the contrast of the average life out there, and you go, well, what's the difference? Well, I can tell you one thing: they sure don't judge much. Very rarely are you going to see that those people judge,
right,
or that person judge. Why? Because they're a teacher of God.
Yep.
And the teacher of God has learned that.
That's right. Exactly. And every time you choose not to judge and instead you choose to love, you are literally saving yourself and humanity years till happiness. So it's like, we're saving time to that experience when we experience true happiness. So, okay. So it says, we have frequently noted that right thoughts are a device for shortening time, but not abolishing time. And why is that? That's because if a sufficient number of people become truly miracle-minded quickly, then the shortening process can be almost immeasurable.
Wow.
Like the Course says that every teacher of God, every teacher of love, saves 1,000 years of time for humanity, till humanity experiences that comprehensive reawakening. Every teacher of God saves humanity 1,000 years of time, 1,000 years of time delay, to that comprehensive reawakening. So
this has been going on for millions of years.
Yeah, many millions of years.
Many millions of years. This whole judgment.
Yep.
Judgment.
Yes.
Judgment. Judgment.
This delay that humanity is doing, when humanity could have its comprehensive reawakening and reawaken to the truth of our oneness and the truth of universal sinlessness and guiltlessness, and waken to the universal eternal truth that there is no lack. Can you imagine a humanity that has awakened to the truth of its sinlessness and guiltlessness and the fact that there is no lack? Wow. That's what I want to experience. That's what I want to help bring about more quickly. And by becoming a teacher of love, you are saving you're saving humanity 1,000 years of time toward that awakening to the fact that there is no lack. Humanity right now is oppressed by the illusion of lack. There's no lack. There's no lack in reality. There's no lack in the universe. There's enough for everybody. Everybody. But because we don't know the truth and we're laboring under the illusion of guilt and sin and separation, now it seems like there's not enough. Not enough for us. It seems like there's plenty for, the people who rule the world, but it seems like there's not enough for everybody else. But that's only because we are deceived, because we're asleep and dreaming of separation and sin and guilt. Okay. So then it says, I love this line. So it says, if a sufficient number of people become truly miracle-minded quickly, the shortening process can be almost immeasurable. Wow.
You could say, if a sufficient number of people give up judging
as their goal,
the shortening process can be almost immeasurable.
Yes.
If we could get one of us to stop judging, that would be quite
well. Every teacher of God saves 1,000 years of time, and I love that if a sufficient number of people become truly miracle-minded quickly, the shortening process, which is the celestial speed up, can be almost immeasurable. So the celestial speed up, the great awakening, that is the shortening process, or you could say the plan that Spirit has given to humanity to shorten the time that we're asleep in separation and lack and death. Okay, I love that. So that's what the celestial speed up in the Great Awakening is. It's a shortening process, a plan the plan that God gave us through Spirit to shorten that time that we're suffering under the lie of separation and guilt.
You hear so many people, including myself for many years, who have said, I just want to follow God. Whatever God's doing, I just want to be in that arena, in the presence of that. And what God's doing is God's just standing there handing out instruction pamphlets to each person that wants to follow God.
Yeah.
And it's the same instructions to each one. Oh, you want to follow? Okay, go out and tell them the good news. What's the good news? The child of God's innocent.
Yeah.
You're innocent.
Yeah, and everybody's innocent, guiltless.
And I'm here to deliver.
And there is no sin.
The last judgment of God.
Yeah.
God said, you guys want a last judgment? I already gave it, like you said, the Alpha and Omega. I already established it when I did creation. And at the end of creation, I looked at everything that was made.
Yeah.
And established, judged it, if you want to say anything was ever judged,
right,
as very good.
Right.
There was nothing to judge as anything else. Yeah. And the idea of something else could be possible came about. And now you have signed up to get my lost little baby children running around the jungle there, not knowing what they're doing and bumping into trees. And I want them to come back home, the prodigal children, safely, who think they're guilty, who don't think they deserve to be the child of God anymore. And when they come back, I'm going to put a robe on them if I have to, a new signet ring if I have to, and show them that was all a fantasy. I was never mad at or offended. I'm just glad they're home. Let's have a celebration.
Let's have a party.
They're home. Come on, my child is returned. They're innocent.
Yes.
The sin is not real. And those that are following God, that's our instruction. It's real simple.
That's
It's
right.
not complicated.
That's right.
And no matter what the temptation that comes down our individual path as
Mhm.
teachers of God, our samurai sword, how do you say that?
Samurai sword.
Samurai
Mhm.
sword
Mhm.
is the child of God is innocent. Sin
Mhm.
is not real.
Mhm.
And we just keep cutting our way back home using, because we are judgment addicts,
Mhm.
using that one judgment
Yes.
to slice our way through all the blocks that are keeping us
Mm. All the
from
delays.
reality.
All the delays.
And as the Course talks about, your footprints out of that world to heaven, or you could say reality,
Mhm.
will light the
Mhm.
way for
Mhm.
others
That's right.
to see their way out also.
Exactly.
And they'll see their way out as, oh, I
Mhm.
this they don't judge.
Mhm. Mhm.
I mean,
Yep.
they just don't. I don't
Mhm.
ever hear them talk about nobody. I mean,
Mhm.
nothing.
Yep.
Nobody, nothing. And look at what appears to be the miracles in their life. You know what miracles are? Joy.
Some
Look at
form of peace and
what
joy and
appears to be all
abundance
the joy and
and
peace
healing.
and happiness
Mhm.
in their life.
Mhm. Yep. Exactly. Okay. So then it says, so I'll read that again to move forward. If a sufficient number of people become truly miracle minded quickly, the shortening process can be almost immeasurable. But
But
it is essential that we, these individuals, free ourselves from fear sooner than would ordinarily be the case, because we, the teachers of love, must emerge from the basic conflict if we are to bring peace to the minds of others.
mm-hmm.
So, you know, how does that shortening process happen? It happens when the teachers of love, the people who've decided they want to bring love instead of fear to the world, that they free themselves quickly from fear, because they're the ones who are going to be bringing peace to the minds of others. That's
Right.
how the shortening process happens. We who free ourselves from fear then bring peace to the minds of others. That's how the shortening process works.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the shortening process, the great awakening, the celestial speed up, isn't necessarily, it's not something God does to us or for us. It's what we do for ourselves and each other.
Mm-hmm.
That's the shortening process. We shorten the process, the time it takes till humanity wakes up from the dream of sin and lack.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so the last judgment is generally thought of as a procedure undertaken by God. But actually, the last judgment will be undertaken solely by the family of God with with Spirit's help. With Spirit's help. That's what it is. The last judgment is not a procedure undertaken by God. I'm going to judge you now.
And that's that function card that we're given.
That's right.
What's my function?
Exactly.
And we have a one line function.
Exactly. And it is to help other people to free their minds from fear.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. And to say we help other people free their minds from fear is to say we remind others that they are innocent and there is no sin.
Right.
Which means they don't deserve punishment, they deserve only love. That is the final healing process. That is the last judgment. It's a final healing process that we undertake with each other with God's and Spirit's help.
Mm-hmm.
That's the last judgment. That's something we do with for ourselves, and then we help other people to do for themselves. That's the last judgment. That's the the final. So instead of it being a final judgment process, now it's the final healing process that we as humanity undergo with each other. Okay. And so actually, the final judgment will be undertaken solely by the children of God with love's help. And so, really, the final judgment is a final healing rather than a giving out of punishment, however much you may think punishment is deserved. The final judgment is a final healing. It's not a giving out of punishment process. Beautiful. No matter how much you think punishment is deserved. That's so great. Punishment as a concept is in total opposition to right-mindedness.
Now, it said earlier, if a sufficient number were to become right-minded,
Exactly.
miracle-minded, which is right-minded.
Yep.
Miracle-minded is thinking the truth.
Yep.
And I just flipped the page, so I lost where we were. Oh, yeah. Then now we're told what right-mindedness is. That's exactly right. What it is. Punishment as a concept is a total opposition. So if you see somebody in your relationship and you think that they deserve some guilt,
some punishment,
then you think they deserve some punishment.
That's right.
If you think they deserve some correction, you think they deserve some punishment.
That's right.
And so punishment as a concept, that whole concept,
the concept of punishment,
is in total opposition to being miracle-minded or right-minded.
Yes.
And we're trying to get a sufficient number.
Yes, of people to be right-minded.
Because we want to get back home with all of us where it is safe.
That's right. Where
joy is only the song of the day.
Yeah.
Where there's not 1 second, one scratch of a flicker of time where there's a grievance.
Yeah.
Imagine we're all back to our natural state of existence.
Yes.
Out of this crazy made unreality that has brought nothing but pain, misery, sorrow, and the thought of separation to us.
Yeah.
Which is all untrue.
Yep.
But we sure have the ability to feel like we're experiencing it, don't we?
We sure do.
That's without a doubt.
Yeah. Yeah. So at any point that you are feeling like you deserve punishment, or you are seeing somebody else as deserving of punishment, or you are giving somebody guilt, or you are feeling guilty, you can be sure that you are not in your right mind.
Right.
Excuse me. The ego always jumps in my throat when I'm teaching. I notice, like, I'll have the clearest throat ever all the time until I start teaching. And then all of a sudden it's like I've been smoking or something.
Right.
I know. So funny.
Our egos.
My ego's
our egos get terrified.
I'm telling you.
Of hearing this, because it's the end of the reign of terror.
Yes.
It's the end of the reign of separation.
It's the end of the ego's reign of terror upon our minds.
Right.
It's the end of the reign of terror of fear upon our minds.
Right.
And that's why the Course in Miracles the ego does not like a Course in Miracles. Let me tell you, there's nothing that the ego defends against more than a Course in Miracles. That's why it's on the top 10 satanic book lists that I think it was the Catholic Church put out, because it says God's creation is guiltless and sinless, and there is no sin. There is no error that can't be corrected by love. And God is not a judge. God is nothing but love. And, so to the ego and the ego's religion, this course is the ultimate blasphemy.
Mm-hmm.
And, so, and even the people like Greg and I who have devoted our lives to the accepting of these ideas for ourselves and the sharing of them with others, it still is defending in every way that it can against us studying and teaching this material. Even us who are like, this is what we're doing here. This is this is our work here.
It's not just other people being offended at us. It's our own personal egos.
That's right.
That we have invested into this world of duality and false beliefs of good and bad.
Yeah.
It's our own ego belief system that feels threatened.
Yes.
And makes us not be able to talk
or get sick.
Has the power to make the technology mess up.
Oh, totally. Oh my God. Yes.
We're such powerful beings, and we use that in our ego little world to make it look like everything's against me. I'm just trying to promote the truth. No, you're not trying to promote the truth. You're trying to stay in Disneyland of hell, and you're using technology or your voice
or your body,
100 other
or
things.
Your relationships.
Yeah.
Or your relationships.
Or you get sick this week or been working hard or whatever and can't do a class for whatever reason. All of those are just ego defenses.
Ego defenses against
a belief
the truth.
System that's terrified. That if you stop believing in judgment
and guilt and sin,
then I,
the ego,
the devil, the ego, Satan,
whatever you want to call
demon,
it, the great deceiver.
What demons are judgments.
Yes,
that's all they are. Then they're all silent.
Yes,
they have no power.
That's right.
All of a sudden they have no power, and at first that's going to feel like really rocky, shaky ground to us. That's going to be nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
That's going to be like, well, if I don't judge, I'm going to get trampled on in this world.
Right, I won't be safe.
I'll be taken advantage of. And especially once people start realizing that I'm not judging anymore.
Right.
Then they'll really take advantage of me.
Yes. Right.
That's all of the thoughts of the ego belief system.
That's right.
What the truth belief system, God's established belief system teaches, if you stop judging, if you stop doing that, just give it a chance.
Yes.
What do they say?
Give peace a chance.
Give peace a chance.
Give peace a chance.
Peace a chance. And as Billy Jack would say, give peace a chance. And the way we're gonna the Karate Fighter.
Oh, okay.
They were singing it at the end of the movie.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, the law was after Billy Jack, and everybody in the town came together and sang "Give Peace a Chance."
I see. Okay. Okay.
And so, give peace a chance by not judging, and that's all Course in Miracles is asking for, is what the application of it.
Yes.
It's real simple in this lesson. What's the application? Don't judge.
Don't give guilt. Do not give guilt. That's the one temptation. And that's what judgment is for. Judgment is a sword of guilt that we use against each other to hurt each other and ourselves. The same, judging ourselves too. And our job as teachers and healers, and also our purpose as people who want to be happy, healthy, and wealthy, is to learn how to give up judgment, to learn the cost of judgment, and to refuse to pay that cost of judgment. That's the process. That's the final healing process that we are trying to do for ourselves, so that we can help others to do the same, so that we can help humanity to awaken sooner than later. but it's a process of laying down judgment, not using judgment as a sword or a weapon against our peace and happiness. Okay, so beautiful. Okay, we've got 6 minutes left. So then it says, the aim of the final judgment is to restore right-mindedness to us. Right? That's the goal of the final judgment, to restore right-mindedness to us. Okay. Now, the final judgment might be called a process of right evaluation. The final judgment simply means that finally all minds must come to understand what is worthy and what is not. And after all minds come to understand what's worthy and what's not, then all minds' ability to choose can be reasonably directed. Unless this distinction has been made, the vacillations between free and imprisoned will cannot but continue. So the final judgment is not a meting out of punishment. It's where all minds go, oh, what's worthy is love, and what's not worthy is my judgment. Oh, okay. That's it. That is the process. That's the process that restores your right-mindedness to you. And that's the process by which all minds are restored to their right minds.
There's a saying that we've all heard: all things work out for good to those that love God. And I used to get offended hearing "to those that love God" as if there was an exception.
Right.
That things only work out for good for those special people.
Right.
But it is a true statement, the whole statement. Those who love God are those who love truth. Those who love God are those whose minds are in alignment with God's mind.
With the truth.
And the truth is, and what God's aligned mind is everything's working out for good.
Yeah.
And that's how I try to stay in alignment with this. However you do it, to keep yourself right-minded, where you're not tempted to judge things, period. Because then you get into judging, oh, that's good. And then again, you get into because it's not bad. And then you bring the concept of bad in. The best concept is not to judge.
Right.
And if you feel tempted to judge, to just always ask, Holy Spirit, what's your assessment?
That's right. And I'd like to bring in here, there's a section in the text that is called the right use of judgment, I think. I think it's called that. Or no, it's called the Holy Spirit's judgment. And it says, since you're addicted to judgment, then let this be your one judgment. Only love is real. What is not loving is not true. And then also it goes on to say, what is not loving is a call for love. So only love is true, and what is not loving is a call for love. So, and he says that that's the Holy Spirit's judgment. So if so let your last judgment be, only love is real. What is not loving is nothing but a call for love. So there's your judgment. Okay. If you need to judge that way. If it's not loving, it's not true. And if it's not loving, it is a call for love. That's Holy Spirit's judgment. And so when we feel the temptation to judge, let us use the last judgment, the final say, right? Because after you've made that last judgment, which is not your judgment, that was Spirit's judgment, then now there's no more need for judgment. Okay, beautiful. So, well, why don't we stop here? It's been an hour and a half. The rest of this section is so beautiful and powerful, like always.
Yep.
And of course, as always, it's just saying the same thing in another beautiful way. But do go and finish the section yourself. And now that we've gone through it together, the last few paragraphs will make even more sense to you and be usable.
And I love how this fits right perfectly out of last week's class.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
that last week's summary was we've been given a function, and that is to go out and see the kingdom, the children of God, without exception,
Mm-hmm.
as innocent.
Yeah.
And as much as we're tempted to believe otherwise, that
Mm-hmm.
sin is not real.
Yep.
You remember the story of the prodigal child. When the prodigal child came home,
Mm-hmm.
the prodigal child, even when brought in front of the creator, the
Mm-hmm.
father,
Mm-hmm.
the symbol of the creator,
Right.
the symbol of God
Mm-hmm.
in the story,
Right.
the child still had the wrong, not right mindedness,
And was expecting punishment.
yeah, and expecting punishment,
Mm-hmm.
and verbally said,
Yeah.
I am no longer worthy to be
Mm-hmm.
called your child.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And creator was like mystified, like, oh my
Mm-hmm.
goodness,
Like, what are you
what
talking
are you
about?
talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Because this
You
was
are my
this
treasure.
not only was not true,
Mm-hmm.
it never was true.
Yes, that's right.
And so the child had believed a lie for how long?
Mm-hmm.
And the child has believed this lie, I'm no longer worthy to be your child.
Exactly.
And creator's like, I've seen you nothing but innocent.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
That's
Exactly.
all I've known you.
The
As,
father.
in other words, as my image,
Yes.
my likeness,
Mm-hmm.
my offspring,
Mm-hmm.
my child. Because that's what God is innocent.
That's right. The father in that prodigal son story did not judge his the son who had left.
Yeah, so we'll put you on probation.
Right, exactly. We'll see. We'll put you on probation and see how you do.
Yeah,
he didn't judge what his son had done. He just he didn't judge. You know, the only thing that was real was his love for his child. You know, when the prodigal son said, I've squandered your inheritance, your treasure, then God said, what are you talking about? You are my treasure. You know, you can't squander my treasure. You are my treasure.
right.
You know, and that is what God is saying to us still every day, calling us to come back home, saying, you are my treasure. And, you know, God is calling us to come back home, and not so God can judge us, but so that God can love us. Okay.
And before we close out,
Mm-hmm.
I believe the name is Pavan.
Pavan, sir.
Help me.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to say that we have been given the power to help ourselves.
Yes.
And if whatever your story is, whatever your situation is, whatever
you need help around
perceived issues that you feel like you need help, with what we've read here this evening, you can backtrack and
that's right.
Start from the beginning.
Yes.
But in a real simple summary, help me. You've been given all the power, just like Jesus said, all power in heaven and earth has been given me. You can say that. All power in heaven and earth has been given me. How? By not judging.
Yes.
Go for 3 days and just don't judge. If you do judge, like Anna said, judge it as
love or call for love.
A call for love.
It's either love or call for love.
Oh, that's good, or that's a call for good.
Right.
That's love, or that's a call for love.
Right.
That's kindness, that's a call for kindness.
Right.
In other words, they're calling for help.
Right.
So you're come to bring kindness or love or into the situation, innocence into the situation, but not judgment.
Yeah.
And then watch whatever the perceived problem in your life, watch what happens to it.
That's right. Beautiful. And so, Pavan Sir, go watch the class from the beginning, and it's an hour and a half full of ideas that help us to experience the love, the peace, the joy, the miracles, the healing that we are entitled to as children of God. Okay. So
yeah, this is
the
better,
ultimate help.
This is better than anything the world gives help in,
Yes.
because what the world gives help, you notice, isn't lasting. Because then you come back a day later, a week later, a month, a year,
With a
10
different
years
problem.
later, and you need help again.
Different
But
problem.
this is the help, the one help solution to everything.
Yep, that's right.
Is stop judging.
That's right.
Because all of our problems, like you said at the very beginning, it's so true. All of our problems, not some of them, not most of them, all of our problems come from ill judgments.
Yeah, the judgments where we believe that we know enough to judge others, and that where we are acting and assuming that we are God, that we are the author of reality, that we know enough to judge others. That's what the Course calls the burden that we are staggering and falling down beneath. And that when we lay down judgment, not because we shouldn't judge, but because we can't judge, that what we receive instead is a miracle, miracles of love, miracles of abundance, miracles of mercy, miracles of healing. Okay? Because when you're not judging, you do actually begin to believe that you deserve only love. And then that's what you experience. So you experience receiving the help and the mercy and the love and the abundance that you need. So, all right, you guys, thanks for joining us in this Course in Miracles class. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your feedback. We really appreciate you using your very precious time and energy to join this class. And if you would like to support this ministry and strengthen these ideas to go out into the world, then like, share, and subscribe. It's very, very easy to do. It doesn't cost anything. Not only do you strengthen these ideas, because the more who believe in them, the stronger they become, but you're also supporting this ministry whose purpose is to extend these ideas to all of humanity and shorten humanity's time until they awaken back into the heaven that is our reality. So thank you, guys. Appreciate you all more than we can say.
Have a great week. And we love you.
Maybe we'll see you next Wednesday, 7 p.m.
Hopefully
same bat
so.
channel, same bat time, 7 p.m. Mountain Time. Love you guys.